This is White Raptor News Ministries. All praise and glory to the Supreme Spirit of Truth, the Living One. There is none like the Supreme Creator. Blessings to all those that are in service of the Supreme Creator who've turned back, those that haven't ever walked with the Spirit but have turned back to the Spirit. Blessings to you. Blessings be upon you. I listened to this young lady here, Ardenasic Christmas. Well, we don't have anything to do with Christmas at this channel here, but we're going to take a listen to the reason why women are vain. And I think that for a young girl, that she's got a pretty good grasp on life and what's being said. Let's give us a better look.
I wanted to go deeper into this because I previously made that video where I was talking about vanity, and I wanted to kind of go deeper into why exactly it is that, women struggle with vanity, and I mean, I think I probably kind of went into this in the video, but I want to sort of make it more clear, sort of, I hope that makes sense. So, as I had mentioned in the video, it does kind of upset me that, women are, tend to do things like, wear a whole bunch of makeup or, do cosmetic surgeries or, really focus so much on their physical appearance because, I know that hurts them, right? Because, when you care too much about your physical appearance and you put your value in the way, you put your value in the way your body looks. And of course that ends up hurting you because if you don't feel like you look pretty or you have an insecurity related to your physical appearance or you're aging and you're scared of getting wrinkles or whatever, that is going to make you feel ugly. And if you feel ugly, you're going to feel like you have less value because, you just care so much about the way your body looks. And that is such a toxic thing because obviously that makes you feel like you're worthless, right? And then of course on the flip side, you could care too much about it and really like the way you look, but that ends up being a problem too. So yeah, that was basically a quick summary of that video if you hadn't watched it. But yeah, so I wanted to go deeper into the reason why exactly it is that women struggle with this because it's not their fault, all right? This is the way the world is, and the world tells women that their body is where their value is and that their youth is where their value is in. So you cannot blame them for obsessing over it and for feeling insecure or even vain because, I mean, what do you expect? This is what they've heard their entire lives, right? One of the biggest compliments for women to get is, oh, you look so beautiful, oh, you look so pretty, right? It's not, oh, you're so smart or you're so talented, right? It's about beauty, right? And I'm not saying that those compliments are bad, by the way, or that they're not appreciated. I'm just saying that, it's an observation that I've made because, that's just the way the world is. But yeah, so yeah, the world just keeps telling them that beauty is what matters, so is it really a surprise that they're so focused on the way their body looks? Is it really a surprise that they'll want to put on a bunch of makeup, that they'll want to even go through surgery? Is it really a surprise that women can be vain when that's the way that the world is raising them? It's not their fault. It's not their fault, and they can't help that. All right, I like to think of it as a sort of curse this world has placed on women, and it is very hard to break out of that curse, It's really hard to break out of it. Even for me, okay, even me, who, I understand that your body is not, the most valuable thing, right? Your appearance isn't the most valuable thing, I understand that. But, I struggle with it too, okay? Even I find myself you know, experiencing vanity or experiencing insecurity because sometimes I just don't like the way I look. Like, I don't like the way my nose looks sometimes, or I don't like the way my side profile looks sometimes, and like I'll get insecure about it, right? Or I'll feel too good about the way I look, right? So like it's a struggle for me too. Like not even I can escape it. Even though I understand that like your body, the way it looks is not where your value is in. Like women really need to realize that like you are worth so much more than that. Like your soul, your mind, like really, I know it's cliche because a lot of people say that, oh, you know, it's what it looks, you know, it's what's inside that matters and whatever, but people don't really believe that, do they? Like really, everybody says, oh, you know, what's inside that matters, but their actions and their attitudes, they say something else, you know, like it's like they're not telling the truth, but like I'm telling the truth here that like I'm not just saying this to like be nice or whatever. Like I'm serious. It really is your soul, your mind that matters. I'm not just saying this to be nice. I'm dead serious. The way your body looks is like the least of things you should care about, right? I mean, understand it if like you're looking for a romantic partner, obviously, of course, in that way, I guess it really matters because obviously, you know, because of biology and whatever, and the way humans work, of course, obviously, you're not gonna want to be with someone that I guess you don't find physically attractive. So, like, of course, you're gonna want to look good and whatever, but like, it shouldn't be like the main thing. It shouldn't be the main basis on which you judge yourself or feel valued. Like, it's okay that you want to look good. It's okay that you want to care about that, and like, I get it. Okay, that's just the world we live in. But just don't put your own personal value in that. Like don't let the idea of you aging or the idea of you being ugly affect the way you view yourself, okay? I'm not saying you're ugly though. I'm just saying that like if you feel that way and if you really think you are ugly, does it matter? Like does it really matter? Does it really affect your value as a human being if you are ugly? Does it matter? Because I don't think it does, all right? I don't think I'm that conventionally attractive, all right? Like, obviously, because, like, I've had my moments where, like, I'll look in the mirror and I'll think, like, ew, what the heck am I looking at right now? So, like, yeah, does it matter? Does it really matter if you're ugly? Because I do not think it does, right? What matters is, like, the experiences in life that you can have, the things you can do, the way you feel, the way you think about things, the way you see the world. That's what matters. That's what gives life. That's what makes life such a wonderful experience, or even a tough one, I guess. But either way, life is like worth living, I think. And I don't think you should, you know, I don't think the best thing in life is your physical appearance. There's like so much more to it than that, you know? So like, why do we care so much about looking pretty or looking ugly when there's so much more to life than that? Is basically my point. Like, there's just so much more. Like, get off social media, get off Instagram, get off TikTok, and get off any of that. All right, stop posting those pictures, stop looking at that. Just go outside. Go outside. Okay, go outside and like experience the world. Do something fun. Do something that you've never done before that you wanted to do. All right, I don't care if you have a job. I don't care if you have responsibilities. Just for one time, just spontaneously go outside and do something fun, okay? And you'll see what I mean. Like, life is just worth so much more than that, you know? Like, a lot of people, okay, this is getting into a tangent now. Maybe I'll make a video following this, but like, just do something spontaneous and fun, and you'll just see what I mean when I say that there's so much more to life than just your looks.
There it is. So I watched this video and I think that a video like that needs to be sent out to millions of young girls. This video literally makes me want to cry. Because of what our children have fallen into. Everything she said is spot on. I wish that I could have, in my youth, found such an appealing person connected to the Spirit of God. But when I listened to her, Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6, Bible Hub. That's not the one I was looking for. Let's see. Let me think. Let's see. No, I think, I'm way off. Jeremiah 16:19, Bible Hub. O Lord, my strength and my fortress, my refuge in the day of distress. The nations, this here, we're talking about the Gentile nations, okay, will come from all ends of the earth, and they will say, our fathers inherited nothing but lies from our ancestors, okay? Nothing but lies from our ancestors and worthless idols. If we jump over here to the King James Bible, O Lord, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come from all ends of the earth, saying, we have surely surely our fathers have inherited lies. We have inherited lies from corrupted officials, okay, and vanities. This is why when I listened to this young lady talking, she seemed so grounded, and I was really touched deeply spiritually from what she was trying to share. I just think that this kind of content needs to go viral, but something like this, a woman who's explaining to the world what the problem is with the vanity of women today, all comes from the television, it comes from the smartphones, the computers, all these devices, and things where there is no profit. And the things that are where there is no profit, they're specifically speaking about idols. Now, with that said, popping over here, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He, the Spirit, its judges. If it is not he, then who is it? So the world, folks, is turned over to the hands of the wicked. So being turned over to the hands of the wicked, what would that tell you? Do you think if this world is turned over to the hands of the wicked, which are corrupted politicians, okay? So I guess in this particular case, then me calling up 9-6 here wasn't such a bad call anyways. For unto us a child is born. This would be Yeshua, or the one where the angels came to Joseph and said that Mary will bear a child, and for him not to be ashamed of her, to take her, and that you will name the child Emmanuel. And this is a problem for me, why Christians call supposedly the alleged Son of God Jesus, when the Bible plainly tells us that we're to call him Emmanuel. Where do we get all these other names, all these other translations? If I come to somebody, let's say for an example, down in Mexico, and I visit Mexico, and I tell those people in Mexico, my name is John, and they say, oh, it's pleased to meet you, Juan, because Juan is John in Hispanic language. So unto us a child is born, they're speaking about Emmanuel or Yeshua. Unto us a son is given, is the star God, Jesus Christ crucified. And the governments will be upon the shoulders of Jesus Christ crucified. And he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, and Prince of Peace. This channel here teaches you of the contradictions. Do not assume that I've come to bring peace to the earth. Do not think that I've come to bring peace to the earth. Jesus says. Well, I just thought that he was called the Prince of Peace. I've not come to bring peace. Wait. He just said that he's the Prince of Peace. Now we have a contradiction here. But the sword, I've told you guys before that if you take the S off of sword and you place it on the end of words, this is the double-edged sword. It's our tongue. It's the language that we speak. This is why gory is in glory, sin is in sincere, eat is in create, because it's a double speak language. For I have come to set a man against his father. That doesn't sound like a God of peace. And a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and one's foes will be members of one's own household. Boy, can I testify to that as the truth. You see, because when I fell into the truth, folks, and I started reading the Bible, and I was exposed to the darkness of this plane of existence, it allowed me to see my own transgressions against God. That's when the scales really come off your eyes, is when you are capable of seeing your own transgressions against the Supreme Creator. So Jesus is unto us or Yeshua is a child that is born, and Jesus is the son that is given. He's the star God that it speaks about here in Revelations chapter 1. Don't forget to smash the like button if you've come inside the room to watch the content. We got to get this information out to other people. These are the revelations from Jesus Christ. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Like I just said to you, he was to be called Emmanuel, which God gave him to show his servants what must soon take place. He made it known by sending his angel to servant John. Okay, now we're talking about the vision at Patmos. John's vision at Patmos. That's not it. Revelations chapter 1, verse 16, Bible Hub. This is the star God, Jesus Christ crucified. This is the one with the double-edged sword that comes from his mouth. His feet were like polished bronze, refined in the furnace, and his voice was like a roar of many waters. He held in his right hand 7 stars and a sharp double-edged sword. The sharp double-edged sword is our tongue, because we are two-faced gods. We're the gods. I don't say it. I'm telling you what the Bible says. John chapter 10, verse 34, Bible Hub. Jesus is the one that said that we're gods. So if Jesus is the one that's saying that we're gods, and the hands have been in the wicked, the world has been turned over to the hands of the wicked, then can we take Jesus Christ's testimony, who has a double-edged sword from his mouth, who speaks in abominations? He says one thing and then he says another thing. He contradicts himself completely all the time. In the scriptures, Jesus is always contradicting himself. Jesus replied, "Is it not written in your law, I have said you are gods?" So Jesus is the one that's saying we're gods. And gods in this particular setting is 23:16. It's a theo, a deity, especially the supreme divinity. This is what you got to understand, is that our slave masters know what we are. See, we are all on this plane of existence. There's 2 races that were created. One race was created on the 6th day of creation. That race that was created on the 6th day of creation are the Gentile nations. Okay? Maccabees chapter 3, verse 48, Bible Hub. The Gentiles would have consulted their idols in such a situation. That's all those Christians that go to church and they sit and they called up to the pulpit. They're called all there to bow before that God that died on a cross. I must reinforce what I'm telling you when I tell you that Jesus on that cross represents death. That cross is the chain to death in Hades. But the Israelites unrolled the book of the law, which is the Torah. Okay? The book of the law. Let's see. Open the book of the law. It's not giving it to me. But the book of the law is absolutely the Torah to search for God's guidance. In this case here, the Most High's guidance, the Supreme Creator, the Spirit of Truth's guidance. You must, when you're worshiping, you must worship in spirit and truth, as it tells us. Also, in Ephesians, it's telling us that for our struggles is not against the flesh and blood. Okay, what is flesh and blood, folks? It's skin, it's color, it's separation, it's division, but against the rulers. Our fight is against the rulers. It's against the authorities. This is why Thor is in the word authority, because Thor is the god of electricity. Images of Thor with this hammer and electricity. This is why the word Thor is an authority, because we live in a plane of electricity. This plane of existence is called syntropy. Syntropy is the electrification of the materialized world. Okay? So when we're talking the authorities against the powers of the world's darkness, darkness here should be misery. It should be shadiness. That's a good one. Obscurity. And what does that mean? It means that the scales are on our eyes. It means that if you're not walking in the light, you know, as Jesus says, if thy eye be single, the eye is the lamp of the body. Notice here that the word is singular. It's not the eyes, but it's the eye. And what is the eye? Images of a pineal gland. This is the eye. This is the light of the eye. The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are good, plural, eyes, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eyes are bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? So this ties in both light and darkness. See, the darkness is an obscured light. It's a dimmer light, a dimmer light of the life that we live in. This is why you must walk into the truth. You must be in the truth continually, or your body will be full of darkness, because Ephesians is telling us plainly that it's not about the flesh and blood. We are spiritual beings trapped inside of a flesh suit that is leading us astray. That's what we're fighting with. We're fighting with the rulers and the authorities, but they've got us thinking that there is something different in color. Listen, evil comes in all colors, fashions, and races, all right? Both those of that are of light, the children of God, the Israelites. This is why the word elite is in Israel, lights, because they are the light of the world. And the flesh and blood is what's separating us. The flesh and blood, as I've showed you many times, is of darkness. Genesis chapter 1, verse 27, Bible Hub. I'm sure that anybody who's come into my room probably gets tired of me showing this parable, but it's imperative for this to be put on us every day, to be reminded of the sixth day of creation. Everything that I teach about 666 has to deal with the sixth day of creation. There's no way around it. That this God here, Elohim, that created a man in his image, is specifically, it's used. This is not the supreme creator, but it is a God and gods that are used, and notice it is a plural. This is where Christianity, they get their Trinity worship, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Mind you, remember that this God creates him. Let's get down here to him. Creates himself. This God created himself in an image on the sixth day of creation. Well, the Supreme Spirit of Truth tells us, Revelations 20, verse 4, Bible Hub. Why? Oh, sorry about that. Exodus chapter 20, verse 4, Bible Hub. This is why it's so important for me to make these connections for you, because you're being told here, you shall not make for yourself an idol in the form of anything in heaven above, the earth beneath, or the waters below. It's here. Because I know that they've changed the format. I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not, but let's see. Give me a second. See. Supreme God, that's not it. I need to find, there it is. First man, Adam. Right there. I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, but from the unused root meaning to shade, a phantom, it's an illusion, a resemblance, hence a representative figure, especially an idol. It's right there, an idol. So this God that created himself on the sixth day of creation in an image of God is an idol. So all of the Gentile nations are an idol. Images of the Gentile nations. Well, that's not what I wanted. Images of the United Nations. This, folks, are your United Nations. These are all the foreign nations. These are the nations that rule the world. They shut down our country, and they made everybody what? They made everybody on this plane of existence trying to take that jabba dabba do, right? Let's see here. Gematria calculator. A vaccination equals 666, right? And the reason why our children today are being born on such numbers with what do you call it? I'm trying to think of a word. They're eccentric. That's not the word I'm looking for, but it'll do. Because when they're coming out of the womb today, they're they're slamming our children with all these vaccinations, where they used to come out of the womb, they'd give them a vaccination, one vaccination, they'd give them the chicken pox, and then maybe a month or 3 months later, they would give them another vaccination, and then at the first year, they'd give them, their smallpox vaccination, and then they'd give them, they spread them out. And the reason why our children are coming out of the womb so messed up today is because the minute they're born into this plane of existence, these doctors are jacking these children up with about 8 or 9 different vaccinations. Okay, the baby's organs aren't meant to take on that kind of material and stuff, and they are literally poisoning the children. This is what's causing the mental disease on this plane of existence. People need to start stepping up against the children. Why? Because the world, folks, has been turned over to the hands of the wicked. It's that simple. If the world is turned over to the hands of the wicked, do you think that these pastors and priests and bishops and deacons are all teaching you to worship the right God? Hell to the no, they're not. They're teaching you to worship their false gods, their deity gods, their 33 million other gods on the face of the earth, that they'll worship anything other than the point of singularity, worship anything other than the supreme spirit of truth, the living one, the only creator that can deliver you out of the hands of evil is the supreme spirit of truth. There is nothing else that can deliver you from this plane of existence. It takes a contrite heart. It takes a person doing the best they can to walk in an upright fashion and be a righteous member of society, doing kind acts on society today. It's the most important thing for us to do. Jesus, we're taught, is a God of love. He came in pure love. He taught us to turn the other cheek. But then you have him saying, I haven't come to bring peace to the earth. I've come to bring war. He's come to turn a brother against a brother, a mother against their daughter, and in-laws against in-laws. So that for me poses a problem. Not to mention now, I will say this, that the God of Israel, when he told Abraham to take his son up on the and sacrifice him on that altar, Isaac on the altar, at least Yahweh did send an angel, and said to him, you know what, don't do this thing. You've proven to me that I'm the number one. He did send that angel, where the God of love, where Jesus is supposedly sent from, he allowed his son to get the shit beat out of him, tore up, beat down, shot down, thrown down, crucified on a cross, spikes ran through his hand, just beaten to a bloody pulp, and killed that God, killed Jesus on the cross. This God of love, who so loved the world, hold on, let's pull it on up. John chapter 3, verse 16, Bible Hub. For God so loved the world. This God here is a magistrate. Remember what I told you guys the other day about magistrates. Magistrates are 4th degree Masons. They're magistras. They're magisters. Okay? So they're 1 degree below a 5th degree, and this is why Donald Trump is screaming MAGA. The nation is screaming MAGA. Listen, you don't know on this plane of existence who's walking in spirit. This is why the Supreme Spirit is telling us that we tell a man by their fruits. If you want to talk to somebody about the Supreme Spirit, if you try to engage with somebody about the Spirit of truth, and they throw a name, oh, bless you, oh, all in Jesus Christ's name, that's the devil. Jesus is the devil, folks. That's all there is to it. This is why my entire family has turned against me. They've turned against me because I've learned the truth of 666. I sent my own uncle a video, the video that I shared the other day with a black woman with devil horns coming, and she's in black leather lace, and it had 30 other additional 666s, like fermenting, Andrew Tate, New York, image of Satan, illusion, Santa Claus, an absence of God, witchcraft, the archons, giant aliens. So I send him all this, and before I send it to him, he says to me, "Well, I'll take a look at it, but if you know that you're off about anything, I'm going to call you up and I'm going to give you shit." He hasn't returned anything. He hasn't said anything back to me. He didn't call me up on the phone. Why? Because you can't deny what it is I'm sharing with you. That Revelations 13:18 absolutely directly connects to Genesis chapter 1, verse 25 through 27. And when you add 25, 26, and 27, it comes to 78. And 7 plus 8 is 15. And 1 plus 5 is 6. So this is why my whole family's they're terrified of me. They call me Satan. I've never voted in my life. I've never registered to vote. This makes me a non-registered member. So I have no degrees. But a registered member, people who register to vote, they have no degrees. But an active member are those that are registered to vote, and then they go in and they vote for their demon to rule over them. You understand that this is a hive. There are literally billions of people out there that know what they are, and their sole purpose is to guide you and move you away further from the Supreme Creator. I don't know if you guys can see that. I keep forgetting to move this thing back and forth because my phone here doesn't cover the whole screen. Okay, so this is where you're getting your MAGA right here with Donald Trump, make America great again. Do you think that these sayings, that is a brilliantly put together acronym? It's the same thing with COVID. COVID, what did they want you to do? They wanted you to take that jabba dabba do. They wanted you to take that vaccination. And COVID stands for Certificate of Vaccination Identification. So these people on this plane of existence, and probably my brother included, when I told my brother about my awakening and understand probably about 4.5 years ago, that the government, when I started first fighting against them and expressing my bitter feelings towards the government agencies, they came onto my computer and they started summoning me through this device. They sent me, when I would look something up, they would say, join us now and receive $130,000 in cash with your own podcast. When that came across, I went in there and I showed my dad. I said, who offers somebody free cash in a podcast, Dad? But he just couldn't see it. He didn't want to see it. And if I would have clicked on that and I would have agreed to take that $130,000 and I would have had my own podcast and going on, then I would have sold my soul to these rotten bastards. So I declined and I went in there, and my dad, when I told my dad, he had a visitor on the sofa that day. And that sofa, when I went off, that guy has never come back to the house again when I showed him that. And I declined it. He's never come back. He's never called my dad again. He's never came over to the house and visited again or nothing like that. So then they offered me like $200,000. And then I declined that. And then they offered me $200 million. And I declined on that. And then they showed me a room full of cash and said that this is, they're summoning me through this device. Okay. No one can see. Now, if I would have been able to understand then I would have recorded what was taking place. But you got to understand that I was deep in this a spiritual fight at this point in time, man. I had demons on me. I was still fighting with these demons and stuff. And it wasn't until I declined this, like they told me straight up that they would put me in a position of power and that they would give me this room full of, I mean, it's pathetic. A room full of cash is all yours. It'll be deposited into a bank account in your name, is what they told me. And they were talking to me in the toolbar right here. It was really the weirdest thing on the face of the earth that's ever happened to me. What an experience it was that I went through. And I was asking these demons on the other side, because remember, I showed you guys this yesterday, if it's the same listeners. Tron enters the game grid.
All the gear to go back in style. Welcome to your Walmart.
Notice access code 6. They're always using 6 because mankind is 666. When you add the sum of the word mankind in gematria, mankind comes to 66 in simple gematria. Mankind is what's created on the 6th day of creation in Genesis 1:25, 26, and 27. Remember, I've showed you guys this many times, Revelations chapter 13, verse 15, Bible Hub. I don't know why it does that. Every time, I'm pretty sure I said Revelations. The second beast was permitted to give breath to the image of the first beast. Okay, so let me close out some of these windows here. Which ones I want to get rid of. Get rid of that. Fortress. You shall not make for yourself an idol. That's important to remember, because we're going to be pulling up the other parable again. I'm going to go over that one too, when Jesus said that we're gods. So God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. Now the world is under a curse. That's not it. Those that love the world are at enmity with God. Whoever loves the world is an enemy of God. James 4:4. You adulteresses, do you not know that the friendship with the world is hostility towards God? Well, that kind of blows a hole in John in 3:16 of John, right? Where are you at? For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that everyone who believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. Shall not perish, have eternal life means eternal life in this plane of existence. You are trapped in this world. Images of the cross that look like a key. So this is a key to death in Hades. Revelations chapter 1, verse 18, Bible Hub. Do not be afraid, Jesus says. I am the firstborn and the last supper, the living one. I was dead, and behold, now I am alive forever and ever, and I hold the keys to death in Hades. That's the key to death in Hades. The cross is the key to death in Hades. You wear a cross around your neck with a chain on it. You are eternally chained to this plane of existence for eternity. Remember, this place is hell, folks. This is why the gods in John 1, this God here, for God, a magistrate, right there. A magistrate, those that are in power, those that are ruling over you, the supreme divinity. Now, I said that I was going to go back to, Jesus says, is it not written in your law that I've said you're gods? When did Jesus say this? Genesis chapter 3, verse 5, Bible Hub. Notice here for God, again, this is Elohim. This is plural of Eloah, gods in the ordinary sense. Sorry. This is Elohim, plural of Eloah, gods in the ordinary sense, but specifically used of a supreme God. So this God is used of a supreme creator. And Jesus is the one who said, for God does know that in the day you eat thereof, your eye will be open and ye will be like God, knowing good and evil. King James Bible over here says, for God does know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open and ye shall be as gods. So Jesus is saying that we are gods, knowing good and evil. Now, the Spirit, the Supreme Spirit, allowed Satan, Iblis, darkness to come in. He knew. People say God is so omnipotent, so powerful, all-knowing and everything that he allowed Satan to come in and con Adam and Eve into eating of the fruit. Well, folks, you got to understand that Adam is the second man, Adam. 1 Corinthians 15:45 Bible Hub. You got to understand that there's two Adams. So it is written, the first man, Adam, became a living being. The last Adam, a life-giving spirit. So you have two Adams here. Duality exists. The one Adam was good. The first Adam that was molded, the first Adam that was created in an image is a phantom. That is an evil Adam. The second Adam is a life-giving spirit. This is the one that puts the spirit on you, the second man, Adam. But then the Bible tells us that if you eat from that tree of knowledge of good and evil, you shall surely die that day. And the serpent said, you will surely not die that day. But God's telling you, or the Supreme Spirit is telling you, but about the fruit of the tree in the middle of the garden, God, Elohim, said, you must not eat of it or touch it, or you will die. And then Satan lied, Jesus lied, the serpent lied. Okay, it's not a literal serpent. Look, this is called indoctrination. Images of the serpent. Images of the serpent handing Eve an apple. Okay, this is indoctrination, folks. You understand? It wasn't a snake in that form. Definition of a serpent. A sly or treacherous person, especially one who exploits a position of trust in order to betray it. So it was a man, a beautiful, gorgeous man came into the garden. Okay, that's your definition of a serpent, a wily, treacherous, evil piece of shit. Definition of snake.
Here's the definition of snake. A long limbless reptile which has no eyelids, a short tail, and jaws that are capable of considerable extension. Some snakes have a venomous bite.
But again, the second meaning here is a treacherous or deceitful person. So it was a treacherous man that came into the garden, and he was a snake in the form of, let me bite you and do a backstabbing on you and let me screw you out of your inheritance. And then I always have to ask this question as well. Why would the Spirit, the Supreme Spirit, not want Adam and Eve to have knowledge of good and evil, because they were perfect in spiritual form. Adam and Eve at that point in time, there were no rulers. It was the Creator that there was their ruler. All he required is that he follow them. You see, I believe, I don't know, but I believe that he set this up, that when he created the second man, Adam, and then removed the bone marrow, okay? Eve is a clone. She is not created in the same fashion that Adam is. There is a difference between those that are made in an image and the man that was molded from the dust of the ground. They're two different creations. That's the race war that's taking place. The race war is those that were created on the sixth day of creation. Now understand, the minute that Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and they became manifest. They manifest in the flesh, is what happened. And the flesh is what's evil. They could see their nakedness then, and they were full of shame, because before they were completely spiritual beings, completely 100% connected to the higher mind of God. They didn't know of good and evil. They didn't know of their nakedness. They didn't know anything at all. But all they were supposed to do, knowing that they were to be tempted, let me tell you that Adam was created first. Adam was tempted over and over and over from Iblis. Iblis continually asked Adam to eat from that fruit. Adam never touched that fruit. And then it wasn't until later that the Supreme Creator said that it's not good for Adam to be alone, and I will create for him a helpmeet. Okay? So Adam and Eve at that particular point were spiritual beings, neither one to rule over the other. But the minute they ate that from that apple, Isaiah chapter 34, verse 14, Bible Hub. Let me see. I got to find the right one that I'm looking for here. It's been a while since I've looked at this parable. Let me get it over here so you guys can see it as well. Okay. The monsters and Lilith right here. Okay. Now, according to the scriptures here, Lilith is the first wife of Adam, and she didn't want to have the missionary position. She wanted to dominate. She wanted the upper position. So Adam went to God and said, hey, you know, my wife ain't acting right. She's not, you know, being submissive to me and stuff. And then Lilith, she flees. Well, where did Lilith flee to? She fled to the Gentile nations that were created on the sixth day of creation. Okay, the second man, Adam and Eve, didn't come until later. And the desert creatures will meet with hyenas. The desert creatures are the Gentiles, and they will meet with other hyenas. Hyenas in this are backstabbers and goat demons. The Gentile are considered goat demons. Why? Because goats have straight hair, and the children of Israel, they have woolly hair, so they're considered sheep. And that's the metaphor that's given between the two. And they will call out to each other. They're also Liliths. Look, that's a plural, folks. That's an S on the end. So there's multiple Liliths. There's millions of them. These are your home wreckers. These are your deceitful lying wenches that are on TikTok. They're shaking their asses. They're pushing out their tits. They are Liliths. Okay, they're Jezebels. They're goat demons. And they will find for themselves a resting place. Well, what's the resting place? The host. The host body is the resting place. Okay, I'm going to cut on out of here. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. All praise and glory to the Supreme Spirit of Truth, the living one. I love all those that are in service to the Supreme Spirit. Thanks for coming in and leaving your comments. Q tracks. I'm not really capable of reading the comments because I'm on this small little Android phone, and the wording is so small. I like to read them. I'm going to go ahead and pull out and see what we got here. See, 100% facts. F no. You just said F no. I don't know what F no is. If you want to go ahead and leave a comment to what you're talking about. I no longer speak with my family either. The Amish got it 8. I guess you probably meant to say that the Amish got it right. Anyways, thank you, Q Tracks, for coming on in and leaving your comments. I'm very grateful for that. All praise and glory to the Supreme Spirit of Truth. If you haven't smashed that like button, I'd appreciate it if you went ahead and did so. That would really help out my algorithms as well, man. Much love to you, much love to your family and those that serve the Supreme Spirit of Truth. Blessings be upon you. This is White Raptor News Ministries.